All right, we'll start in 1 minute. Just be a little bit patient and wait for more people. And one thing I had to be clear, because now this training does not have CPD, because now right now it's a little bit tight on schedule, because it's almost the Christmas time, and the CPD application may take a little bit longer than before. So this training does not have CPD. Sorry about that. Check. All right, time's up. Let's begin. Good day, everyone. My name is Rex Wang. I'm the marketing and technical guy for Growatt, Australia. And today I would like to give you gentlemen a little bit of introduction about the Victoria Emergency Backstop Mechanism. So obviously today's training will be divided into several parts. First of all, I'd like to introduce the background of the Victoria Emergency Backstop. And secondly, I'd like to talk about the hardware, the software you need for this project. Third one is the portals, because now whenever you're done, you finish your installations, what you had to input in the DNSP's portals to get your pre-approval. And the last is frequent questions asked, being asked for many times for the last 2 months. All right, let's go to the first page. Sorry. All right. First thing first, I would like to introduce a little bit of the background of the emergency backstop. Emergency backstop is has another name in South Australia. It's called flexible export limit. So obviously for the emergency backstop, you can consider like this. Your inverters will be controlled by the utility companies. So obviously right now, it's because of IEMO has asked the utility companies to control the export of the solar generation export to the grid. So obviously a key factor to has a big impact on the quantity of the grid is actually supply and demand. So when there's too much power supply, like solar power supply during lunchtime, and there's no that much of the demand of power consumptions, it has a big impact of the grid quantity. Based on this kind of requirement, IEMO have asked the Australia's DNSP's distribution network service provider, the utility companies or grid companies, to control the export, the solar export to the grid. So obviously this one is first introduced in Australia in last year in 2023, the 1st of July in South Australia. And then Victoria followed South Australia since 1st of October 2024 this year. So obviously from the 1st of October 2024, every solar installation in Victoria must comply with this emergency backstop. To comply with this emergency backstop, that means your inverter has to be controlled by the utility server or the utility companies. Unlike South Australia only had one grid company, that is South Australia Power Networks. Victoria had 5. So obviously all these 5 grid companies can be divided into 3 groups. The first one, what we call CCP CUE. That one is United. This one contains Power Call, City Power, and United Energy. All these 3 can be considered as group 1 or group CCP CUE. And then Gemini and Ausnight can be considered a group Gemini and a group of Ausnight. So in our app, when you do the Wi-Fi commissioning for the end user, or Wi-Fi setup for the end users, you will see these 4 options: South Australia, CCP, CUE, and Gemini, and Ausnight in our app. There's 2 things you must be really pay special attention on. The first one is the NMI number. Each end users will have the national metering indicator number. This is a unique one. Normally start with 10 digits. Some of them have 11 digits, but it only matters the first 10 digits. and the AMI number. Secondly, is you choose the right grid service provider or choose the right DNSP. So I'm just gonna give you a quick heads up. Is for in Victoria, the 5 different grid companies, City Power. So the NMI number always starts with 61. And Osnet start with 63, Protocol start with 62, Gemini start with 60, and the United Energy starts with 64. So obviously 61, 62, and 64, they are belong to one group, a group of CCP CUE. Because now United Energy, Protocol, City Power, they are actually one company. And 62 is Osnet, and 60 is Gemini. The reason why I talk so much about this one, you will use it in the later part. And but please do remember AMI number, serial number, and also the grid companies group. It's very important when you do the communication to the utility server. Operation. So obviously, first, whenever you do the installation in Victoria since 1st of October, you always make sure your inverter can be used in Victoria. That means it must pass the test. First of all, it has to have the CC approval for the software communication client. Well, yeah, another word, it has to pass the CS IP-AUS test back in South Australia. So first one, you can check it from CEC's website. All you have to do is Google the CEC approved inverter. At the middle page over here, you can see there's like approved inverter list with software communication client. You check this PDF. There's like a Growatt, most of the Growatt inverters are there. As long as the software communication client's status is inbuilt, that means our inverter do not need actual third-party devices, and it has inbuilt functionality to talk with the utility server. And secondly, because now that one is just for CEC, and secondly, if you want to make sure the inverter is capable for emergency backstop in Victoria, you always has to go to the utility company's approved list. So all you have to do is Google like United Energy approved inverter list, or Gemini approved inverter list, or Osnet approved inverter list. You will see Growatt inverter in there and as inbuilt. And so obviously there are different DNSPC requirements. For obviously for once the installation is done, you have to also set the export limited for each of the installation you did. So obviously for Gemini, after installation done, you have to make sure the export limited is 0.5 kilowatt. And for United Energy, City Power, and Power Call, it has to be 0 export. Osnet is 1 kilowatt. The reason why you must activate such export limited is because in case of the inverter offline or the internet connection is not stable, the inverter is offline, the inverter itself, that means it cannot be controlled by the DNSP. Back to this time, the inverter itself will go back to the default mode so that it will automatically go to the default export limited mode in case there's no stable internet connection. After installation, once the installation is done, because many of the installers came to us ask why they done their installation, they check the smart meter and they change the Wi-Fi, they pass the capability test, but the end user still has problem for export their solar power back to the grid. It's because there are some possibilities. First one, the first one is normally because the installation is done, it probably take 1 or 2 weeks time for the inspector to finalize the inspection. Once the inspection is done, then you have to wait for the utility or the grid companies to check. Gemini's, Osnet, United Energy, right now they are frequently check if this inverter is controlled properly by them. So this first one is there may be delay, and the second is some of the DNSPs, some of the grid companies may take, because right now there's a large amount of the applications waiting for their approval. So the processing time probably take a little while. My advice is if you got any issues for this one, just give us a call. Give us 1-800-476-9288 call. We will follow up for you. Because now we have some kind of shortcut with Teams group and with all these kind of DNSPs. Based on your NMI number, inverter serial number, and FDI, we can quickly locate your case and give you the troubleshooting for you with a DNSP together to give you a troubleshooting solution. All right, so what I've been talking about is the requirement. And so right now let's go to the hardware part. So to install emergency backstop solutions in Victoria, you must have you must have the reliable internet connection. Reliable internet connection, that means your inverter can talk and communicate and being controlled by the grid company. This is very important. Secondly, for Growatt inverters, right now we use a special Wi-Fi dongle, what we call a Shine One-Line X2. This is not the Wi-Fi dongle in the box, in the inverter box. This is an actual one. So I had to get additional Wi-Fi dongles or data loggers for this one. We are sorry about this one, but the good news is after manufacturing date after 1st of January 2025, we already put this data logger in the box with the inverter. That means no extra data logger is needed anymore. Secondly, as I said, this is a kind of export limited control, which means you must have the smart meter. So obviously for Growatt single-phase inverter, you must have the single-phase smart meter, what we call SDM120CT. And for three-phase, you have to use SDM630MCT, the smart meter. But there are two exceptions. Our latest inverter, Min 2.5 to 6 TL-XH2, this is our latest battery-ready single-phase inverter, and Min 7 to 10 kilowatt TL-X2. These two inverters, only these two inverters can only work with CT would be fine, to achieve this kind of the emergency backstop. And the benefits for this one, I mean, because now the benefit of this one, it will significantly reduce the material cost. First of all, it's much cheaper than smart meter. Secondly, for installers, it will significantly reduce the installation time. So I got plenty of the complaints for the last 2 months. And installers said they used to do 2 sites a day easy. Right now, it's because of this emergency backstop, they had to do 1 site a day. So from our side, our Growatt side, we do our best to save the installation time for the installers. We totally understand. In Australia, time is money. All right, so what I've been talking about is the hardware requirement. Right now, it's a software requirement. This is something whenever you've done the hardware setups, like you do the smart meter installations, you use the new Wi-Fi dongles, and you get a reliable internet connections. Right now, you go to our Shine phone app to help the end user to connect the inverter online. Right now, this is a must. You must put the inverter online. If you do not put the inverter online, we cannot help you from our side. So I highly recommend it. Each of the side must be connected to the internet. So with our Shine phone, you can choose a grid company, electrical grid company like CC, PCUE, or Gemini, or Snite, and all this kind of server IPs or server port is already pre-made in that. All you have to do, you choose the right grid company, the rest will automatically pop out. All you have to do is click on that and click on yes. Then the second one, second one is FDI. FDI, I want to see that FDIs, you can be considered as kind of a key or password. So now you want to let one single inverter talk with the utility server or the grid company's server. You must have like a password or some key to talk with this utility server. This FDI is actually generated based on the serial number of the inverter and also NMI number of the end user's NMI number. This one is very important. Because third one, you must choose the right grid company. So if you choose the wrong grid company, that definitely costs us a lot of time to rectify that. And secondly, this kind of FDI is not, I'm sorry about this one, but this FDI is not ready until this Thursday. Because now when the Thursday, our app will be, this Thursday, our app will be updated. With that update, then you can see RFDI in the app. Right now, what you can do is actually you get the RFDI from our service team. Sorry about this one, but we are doing it this week. We definitely will fix it this week. And as I said, you must make sure that you input the correct NMI number, national meter number of the end user, the correct number of the serial number of the inverter, and also choose the right grid company. Then you will get the right FDI. As I said, right now I understand it's a very busy time of the installation, but like for us, Growatt right now has 9 full-time engineers in Australia and 7 full-time engineers back in the Philippines. So obviously we provide 7 days a week service help, technical support during 9 a.m. to 7 or 8 p.m. depends on the person's office. So obviously we start from 9 a.m. in the morning and 7 p.m. in the afternoon. And also we provide from Monday to Sunday, 7 days tech support. So if you got any this kind of issues, give us a call, 1-800-476-9280. All right. So what I've been talking about is the side had to be done from our side. That means our Wi-Fi setup, smart meter setups, one new Wi-Fi dongles, and export limited setup. And then what you had to do, eventually you come to this step. That means you had to pass the test. Each of these grid company will hold a emergency backstop capability test. You must pass the test to get your pre-approval. So we have the details from this link, and I will share this link after this training, and also you can always give us a call. So obviously all you had to do, so United Energy, City Power, yeah, for the question, do not worry about this one. When the presentation is done, I'll give you enough time for the question and answer, okay? So obviously for United Energy and City Power call, and you can go to the City Power's portal. This is where you get your pre-approval. You input your account name and input your password. You go to this page. Choose the right inverter. Obviously choose the right inverter, especially the model number. And then input the NMI number, serial number of the inverters and the NMI number. Then you will get RFDI. Eventually, you input the RFDI. You will go to the run the test to give me the final page of United Energy Power Call City Power, the final page. There will be 4 tests. The first one is a communication test. The communication test is to make sure that inverters actually can talk with the utility server, the grid company's server in the internet. Secondly, there will be the default setting like export limited if your inverter has been correctly set to export limited. Third one will be if there's a power generations, if you can pass the export limited test, and the fourth one is the conclusion. So obviously, normally based on my understanding, as long as the first test, you can pass the first test, the rest should not be a problem. But it can be tricky. So now the reasons I say it's tricky is because of you have to double confirm it. You have to make sure the installation of your smart meters, right? Export limited is activated. And also the third one and most important one is there is at least 1 kilowatt of the solar generation when you do the capability test. If there's not enough of the solar power generation, it can cause problems. You cannot still pass the test. So based on my lastly, but not least, is sometimes the utility server is not stable either. So if you cannot pass the full 4 tests, do not worry, just change it for another, wait for like a 1 hour or 2, or choose like a lunchtime or 2 or 3 p.m. It's a sunny day. It must be a sunny day. It cannot be cloudy or raining. You cannot pass the test. So just try it a couple times. If you still cannot pass the test, give us a call. We will help you out for this one. Normally, based on my understanding, as long as you pass the first one, the rest should not be a problem. All right, for Gemini. Gemini is a little bit special because now it's just like procedure will be like the United Energy, and you choose the inverter, you log in to get your pre-approval, you input the panels details, the inverter details, and you get the test. But Gemini, normally when the test is done, and I think it would take it's based on Gemini's notification. They said it may take 7 to 10 business days because they need to continue test if the site is totally meet the requirement. So yeah, my understanding is once your installation is done, get your inspector to finish his inspection as soon as possible, and then to run the test. OSNet. OSNet is probably the very special one. And for OSNet, you input your login, and there's like options over here. When we choose the solar or either solar or battery storage, always choose auto ban. Because now here there's an in-ban auto ban. The default setting is in-ban. If you choose in-ban, you cannot change it to auto ban. I don't know, it's something wrong with I don't know what's the problem, but I think it's probably a system problem. If you had to realize this one, for Growatt, you must have to choose auto ban. You cannot choose the in-ban. And now some of the inverters you can choose the in-ban, but for Growatt, you must choose auto ban. What if you have the system automatically choose the in-ban for you? You see the little trash can over here. You can delete this inverter and redo it again. As on the second time, everything should be fine. All right, that's OSNet. OSNet is tested always take longer than I expected, probably 1 or 2 days to finalize. All right. So obviously there's some major issues we have so far. The first one, smart meter installations, because now smart meter or CT installations. The most frequently one, the problem is the wrong CT direction. Always remember the error of that CT always point from the grid to the inverter. The error is always point to the inverter or to the family load. From the grid, it tells to the grid, and the error is actually pointed to the inverter. This can cause a big trouble, big problem if you put the wrong direction of the CT. So my advice, always give our engineer a call when you're on site. FDI issues, wrong DNSP, you input the wrong DNSP, you input the wrong AMI number, you input the wrong serial number, can all cause these wrong FDI issues. For this one, you had to give us a call. Let our service engineer to delay this FDI for you, and in future time, because now in this Thursday, you can actually delay it from your side. All right, cannot pass the 4 tests. The DNSP 4 tests can be really tricky as well. As I mentioned before, for always check if the installation of the smart meter is right, always check the internet is stable, always check the export limited is right, and lastly is sometimes utility server can make promos if you try that a couple times. And also always check if there's like sufficient solar power generation, enough power generation. So obviously, if you cannot pass the DNSP, just give us a call. Inverter export limited. So once the installation done, you must set an inverter to the export limited. Gemini 0.5 kilowatt export limit. United Energy Power Call City Power 0 kilowatt, and the OSNet is 1 kilowatt. Last but not least, actually the most frequent one, and the multiple inverters at one side to pass the emergency backstop. Right now, I think that's a little bit tricky, and we do not, to be honest with you gentlemen, and we do not have solution at this stage. We are working on one solution. It will be ready on Q1 of 2025. So you can mix use 2 different Growatt inverters, one hybrid, one on-grid, with one component, and to pass the emergency backstop capability test. All right, that's probably everything for today. And right now it's a question and answers. Yeah. Is there a reason why we cannot update the firmware update ourselves? This is a question from Jack. Yes, this is a very good question. And because now right now it's only our service engineer can do the firmware update. Or if say if you use a most frequent one, we can email you a firmware document. You can copy and paste that into an empty USB disk and do the firmware update on site when the inverter is properly installed and put it in the USB port. That one can work. Yeah, but right now it's sorry about this one, but at this stage, you have to give us a call. We will remotely do the updating for you. But I'm sure because the next batch, the next newly manufactured inverter, next batch of the inverter, definitely no need to do the firmware updating anymore. Sorry about this one, but because of the emergency backstop is coming online on 1st of August. So many of our inverters are still old stock. So they need a firmware update. Sorry about this. Any more questions? So obviously from my understanding, yes, it's if you get any issues for installation, just give us a call. All right, if there's no more questions, that's it for today, and I will share the record as well to the internet. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your help and hope you all have a good day.